Welcome into House of Champions. Enjoy alongside Jonathan Johnson. Some breaking news out of Paris, France on Tuesday. Lionel Messi suspended 2 weeks by PSG following an unauthorized trip to Saudi Arabia with family. Now, there are reports, JJ, that Lionel Messi and his future at Paris Saint-Germain looks to be already determined. But after seeing this news, JJ, about the suspension, which caught me by surprise, how did it make you feel? I mean, what's the latest out of Paris?
Yeah, it's been a busy sort of past 24 hours or so, and I think it's inevitable that something like this is going to cause a lot of buzz, and send sort of shockwaves through the footballing world. But equally, I think really at the end of the day, the situation has been clear sort of between PSG and Messi. Nobody's happy at this moment in time. PSG aren't happy with another failure of a season. Messi's not happy being part of a project that hasn't, worked out since he arrived at the club. But PSG's rules are quite clear, to all of the players. Days off, get granted after victories. They don't get granted after defeats. And sort of the long and short of it is, it seems like Messi had this plan, sort of assuming that PSG would beat Lorient. Obviously, they didn't. Lorient played very well over the weekend, fully deserved their win. But Messi went ahead with his trip to Saudi Arabia anyway. We know that he has that, lucrative contract with them signed up to be sort of a travel ambassador. Basically since then, there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of controversy, people up in arms about the situation, the fans, threatening to go out and take to the streets to protest further against the ownership of the club. It never a dull moment in Paris, but really, it seems like for a while it's been coming to a head, this situation, the fact that there hadn't been any real progress in the talks between PSG and Messi since PSG put an offer on the table, which as it stands today, sort of as we record 24 hours after the news broke of Messi being fined and, banned for 2 weeks, that hasn't changed. PSG are not going to withdraw that offer that's on the table. They're not going to add to it either. But, it seems highly unlikely that Messi is going to accept that. And, at the end of the day, it's a stalemate between the two parties. What I will clarify is that he was suspended for 2 weeks from the date of May the 2nd, I believe. So there's a bit of sort of debate about whether it's going to rule him out of one match or two, but basically it could rule him out of more than one game. And it is a hefty fine that he's been hit with, and that's no access to any of PSG's sort of training facilities. So not only is Messi, not going to be able to take part in games and have a bit of his pay docked, he's also not even going to be able to have any contact with his teammates now until the suspension is over. So, obviously not a great look for PSG and Messi in terms of their relationship, which is now at an all-time low. But equally, PSG had to draw the line somewhere, had to show some authority, because this season is descending into utter farce. I mean, you look at some of these performances, some of the results, it's not acceptable. It's not good enough. And nobody comes out of this well. Everyone talks about sort of PSG being Kylian Mbappe's club and project. It doesn't reflect well on Mbappe at this moment in time, what's going on. PSG are an ailing club. They are really in bad health. This, I think has to be sort of the start of a new sort of hardline stance with some of these players who kind of see themselves coming in as being bigger than the club, because if they continue to bring in those types of characters, then PSG will never progress.
I mean, this is an interesting talking point. Now, not only is he suspended there, you're saying that he's not even allowed to enter the training facilities, not allowed to be near his teammates when they're training. Is that right?
Yep, that's our understanding of it. From the information that has been shared, there has been no official statement made. I should clarify, and until Christophe Galtier speaks at the next pre-match press conference, I don't imagine there'll be any sort of public comment from PSG. But that is, sort of what we've led to understand be the conditions of this punishment handed out to Messi.
Wow!
And this came from the top of the club, by the way. This came from PSG chairman and CEO Nasser Al Khelaifi. Caught a number of sort of higher ups at PSG, off guard as well, because it came quite late in the day. So this has been very much a personal move to I wouldn't necessarily say prove a point, but to underline sort of the authority at the top of the club, kind of reassert the
I love
power,
that.
if you will.
Well, that's where I'm going with the next one here, because obviously this is becoming personal now. When you make a decision to ban a player from the training facilities, not be near his players and certainly not be near what he's used to having day-to-day basis with a football club, this becomes a personal decision. So you mentioned Nasser's name right there. Obviously, the power figure that he is within the club. How much of this decision do you think is behind him saying that he needs to put his foot down now and pretty much change the culture at the football club, where player power has been clearly relevant for a long time now, and he said, no, this is my football club and we're going to do things differently from now on?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some people will say that it's been a long time coming, better late than never, that sort of thing. But the understanding is, or the sort of idea in and around PSG is that this actually started, back with the renewal of Kylian Mbappe's contract. This was the beginning of sort of the push to move towards more French talent, more talent hailing from the Paris area, and also to make a move towards players who are sort of more, sort of team players, as it were. Obviously, it's not worked out that well, in the first year, but these processes take time. There may well be adjustments made to it, notably in terms of, who manages PSG next season, with Christophe Galtier in a very difficult position. But PSG feel that they're sort of 1 year into now a massive cultural change at the club. And the next sort of step of that is to take an even more hardline stance with some of these problematic characters with the club. And now I'm not saying that Lionel Messi has been a troublemaker from day one. That's not what I'm saying. Obviously he's a seasoned professional, a serial winner, and someone who really hasn't caused that many problems, throughout his time with PSG. However, this was sort of seen as quite out of character. And whether it was sort of a misunderstanding of sort of the rules, I don't know how much I'd buy into that, because, according to what we've heard, there was a conversation after the defeat to Lorient in the locker room where it was made clear to the players there's not going to be any time off after this, because you need to get back onto the training ground. Because let's not forget, look at that Ligue 1 table right now, and it's not done for PSG in terms of winning that historic 11th title. There's still work to do. They can't afford to be losing more points like this, especially not at home. So right now, it's very much a feeling that Nasser El Khelaifi has sort of reasserted, his power, his authority at the very top of the tree, and that there's going to be bigger changes to come once that title does get wrapped up. But obviously, it's not a foregone conclusion until PSG actually have that trophy in their hands.
Just a reminder, Lionel Messi suspended 2 weeks by Paris Saint-Germain following an unauthorized trip to Saudi Arabia with family. Ami, enjoy. And that is Jonathan Johnson. Go check him out on cbssports.com for more information about Lionel Messi and his suspension.